Good morning and welcome back to Questioning Scents with me, Matt. Another beautiful day, so nice. In fact, we're going to be spending the entire day in the garden. My wife is preparing a lovely roast chicken as we speak, which I will enjoy in the garden with my family very, very soon. And I really am starving. So, how are we all doing? I hope you're getting by. I hope you're safe. I hope you're well, and I hope you're sane. Now, obviously, we opened this up to requests from you guys. We're going to try and do as many videos as we can that you've actually asked for. So one of you lovely people asked for a top 10 ouds. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to film a top 10 review of my favourite ouds, and these are the high-end ones. Now, I've done quite a lot of the sort of more cheap or more less expensive Middle Eastern oud fragrances, but what I've actually done with this list, I've tried to put together a list of perfumes that really do have like an oud note in them. So, you know, a lot of the Middle Eastern frags tend to call themselves ouds, but there's absolutely no oud in them. So this list here is pretty much my favourite oudy frags that really do kind of smell like they have a bit of oud in them. And also, just to let you know, one of my friends and subscribers, wonderful guy, Stuart, has sent me a batch of Swedoft samples. Obviously, I was a big fan of Rasputin, so now I'm going to get to go through the entire collection. So tomorrow, I'm going to put a review of those, or like a first impressions anyway. So let's get on with the ouds. Oh, and, you know, by the way, if you do have any requests or there's anything you'd like me to talk about, but in a bit more detail, or anything that Rich, you know, want me and Rich's opinion on, please send us a message and we'll try and get it filmed if we can. Okay, so before we start, there are 10 here, but there is one honourable mention, and the honourable mention is Shagaf Oud from Swiss Arabian. This is a super cheapy, super performing fragrance. There's another one I have as well, which is Aswad, but I think I slightly prefer this one. Really, really good fragrance for the money. Beautiful smell, great performance, and a really good introduction to oud, because the oud is here, it is here, but it's very mild. It's not over the top or anything like that. So this is the honourable mention. So I had to squeeze it in because it doesn't quite make my top 10, but I do really, really like it and I wear it a lot. So I highly recommend that one. That's Shagaf Oud. Okay, the first up, number 10. I've put this one in because I haven't got really many designers of any shape or form. And this is Boss Bottled Oud. I really like this. It's just a really, really nice smell. It's that oud in this actually does smell. I mean, I'll be very surprised if there's any real oud in this, but it does smell like there is. It's got quite a realistic oud note in it. I sampled lots of designer ouds because I wanted to get one, and I didn't really like any of them, or I quite liked a couple of them, but the performance was shocking. So this is the one I ended up with. I don't wear it very often, to be honest with you, but I do really enjoy it. It's worth sampling, and it's another like safe oud, if you like. It's got sort of apple and a bit of cinnamon and stuff like that, so it's quite fruity. It smells very much like the rest of the Boss Bottled line, but there is a like oudy note in it, so well worth having a look. Okay, so I'm going to obviously get the numbers all wrong, so I'll let Rich edit that at the end, because every time I try and keep track of it, it's going to go wrong. And also, they're not particularly in any massive like order, apart from maybe the top 3. All right, so next up, from the house of Mancera, we have Black Lion. This is beautiful. Absolutely adore this one. And as you can see, I've got through quite a bit of it. It does get a good wearing. I love it. It's a sweet, airy rose. It's it's very long lasting, but it's not stupidly strong like some of the Manceras. It's subtle, it's sweet, and it's airy, and it's really rather nice. I think this is a really good one for everyone to wear. It's not too oudy, but it does have that Mancera sort of synthetic oud note in it, which I actually really, really enjoy. Totally unisex, maybe a little bit more on the feminine side, but I certainly happily wear this. I think this is another one that would be a really good introduction to people that aren't massively into oud, because it's a lovely sweet rosy smell. It's beautiful. I really, really like this. I got this around the same time as I got the Oud. Now this is the fragrance I'm actually wearing today. This is beautiful. It has that synthetic oud. It's slightly medicinal this time though. It has a kind of that medicinally oud feel to it. It's not particularly barnyard or anything like that, but it has got that like medical vibe. It also smells a bit like polished wood. So if you can imagine a sweet rose, polished wood, and a little bit of a medicinal oud there, That's what you'll get here. Very, very long lasting, really good projection and a decent sillage as well. This is a good one. I really enjoy this one and thoroughly recommend it. Okay, next up, this isn't just one of my favourite ouds, this perfume. This is one of my favourite perfumes and I've absolutely hammered it. And this is Oud Malarkey from Shop Hard. This has got to be one of the most beautiful bottles I own. And I'm slightly worried now that I'm ploughing through it. But this is a wonderful fragrance. This was made by Dominic Ropignon. And it's a celebration of lots and lots of things. There's a little tobacco in here. It's a little sweet. There's a lot of spices in here. The oud seems to be top loaded. You only really get it at the beginning. And it is quite subtle, but it's just beautiful. It's so sophisticated. This is a real treat to wear. This is a grown-up fragrance. This is a big night out fragrance. This is, you know, a treat for you and whoever's around you. The performance is good. The first 2 hours are where all the action happens, all the interesting notes and the exciting accords. They all explode in the opening. And then as it dries down and wears off, it just becomes kind of like a sweet tobacco-y type woodsy affair. Really, really good fragrance though, and as I say, absolutely stunning. This is, I think, one of the bargains out there, because I think even if you buy this retail from like a high-end department store, it's about £70 for the bottle, which, you know, I think it could be a lot more than that. And also it does appear in discounters as well, so you can find it at the places like All Beauty carry it and stuff like that, so the price does come down. I actually got that in a presentation box set with a shower gel, which is really good. Unfortunately I've used it all, but it's lovely. So if you're looking for a sweet, spicy, interesting take on the whole oud thing, this would be a really good starting point for you. A beautiful fragrance. Okay, next up, back to Mancera. One of my favourites, which is Black to Black. This is possibly the strongest perfume I own. It's insane. The power that is in this is just ridiculous. It lasts forever and it just belts out. And it's a thick, heavy, oudy rose, saffron, wood, some leather. It dries down very nicely. It just roars. It really does. It's a beautiful fragrance. Not for the faint of heart. And I've mentioned and we've joked on previous videos that I recommended Rich try this, so he blind bought a bottle and it nearly killed him. He cannot do the rose thing, and I completely forgot about that. So he really didn't like it purely because of the rose. But this is an awesome fragrance, and it's just, it's enveloping. You know, it's another one where the sillage is so thick, you're in a fog. You know, it's not a bubble, it's a fog, and it lasts and lasts and lasts. So you've got to go very light with the trigger. I'll be cautious of wearing this in hot weather, because it is, it's just massive, and I think it probably would become quite cloying if it was too hot. You know what I mean? Okay, next up, we are looking at Duetto from Sospiro, which I think now Sospiro is gone, so we think we can just have to call it, Mancera Duetto. This is a rose, oud, vanilla, patchouli, a little bit skanky in the opening. Another one, it's got magnificent performance. This just belts out. It dominates rooms. You've got to be very light on the trigger, but it's beautiful. It just, it's so smooth. The blending on this is unbelievable. It is quite feminine leaning, I think, but I love it. This is another one that I could easily wear every day, all day. Beautiful stuff, but very potent, so be careful with it. It is an expensive perfume, but as I've said on previous videos with this one, because the bottles have changed, discounters have got them. This was at TK Maxx last Christmas for under £100, which is a brilliant price for such a beautiful fragrance. Also, it's a 100ml bottle, so you've got a lot of it, and you do not use very much whenever you apply it, just a couple of spritzes. And I like overspray all the time, but not with this one. It's too heavy, it's too thick, and it's too enveloping. If you overspray that, you're going to be in trouble. All right, next up, one I reviewed quite recently and one I'm really in love with, and this is Oud exclusive from Mancera. I've only got a small bottle of this one, and I bought this from a friend through a Facebook group, so I got it really cheap, and I wear it a lot. And look at that, this wasn't a full bottle when I got it, and I've worn this an awful lot, and it's barely made a dent in there. This is so strong. This is so potent. This is so powerful. I cannot believe the quality of this perfume. This is not like any of the other Manceras I've got. It's leagues above everything else in terms of quality. The smell is beautiful. It's divine. It's oudy. It's spicy. It's saffrony. It's leathery. There is a little rose in here, but this is not a rose oud. The oud in this is a little bit medicinal. It's a little bit funky at times, but it's not overly dominant, and it's certainly one that if you're, you know, interested in oud but a little scared of the heavier stuff, you could still wear this. But be careful, this is an incredibly long lasting, incredibly strong and very, very potent perfume. Do not get this on clothes. It will not come out, despite numerous washes, as I've discovered with a few of my work shirts that have been washed and not worn for a long time because I've not been at work, but I can still smell it on them. So please don't get it on clothing. All right, now we're up to the final three. And this is where the order is important, because these next three are my favourite oud fragrances by quite some distance. Number three, we were talking about him the other day and he's back again. This is Zanzibar, or Najaf, depending on the bottle. This is a tester, as you can see there. It's got tester on there, and it says Najaf on the bottom. Some of them say Zanzibar. I don't know why it has a dual name. I'm not entirely sure, but this is, as I said in the sandalwood review, this is an oud, spice and sandalwood affair. The oud is very realistic. It's a little bit funky, is a little bit animalic. I think there's some civet in here as well, and it gives it that sort of raw smell, but it's divine. You have to like oud and you have to like sandalwood to enjoy this, because it's quite an experience. And as I mentioned in the previous video, this is not one I can wear at home. My wife doesn't like the smell of it. I love it, but it's just not for her. It's not sweet. It is quite sour, so you have to be aware of that as well. Definitely one to sample, and certainly not a blind buy. I wouldn't recommend anybody blind buy this unless, you know, they're either really rich or they just don't care, basically. But yeah, it's an expensive perfume, and for me, a rarely worn one, purely because obviously my family don't like it. Now, the number two, there's no surprises here. This is also from Gerolf, and this is More Than Words. This is a fruity rose oud. Again, magnificent. Huge performance. It belts out. It's another one like Duetto. It dominates rooms when you wear it, so you've got to be very careful with the trigger. This is a little 50ml bottle. And I've had it quite a while, and I've barely made a dent in it because the performance is so good. This is one that I can wear around my family because everyone loves it. It's beautiful. It's a very classy smell. It's quite sweet in places. It's quite fruity. Then it's quite rosy. The oud is here. The oud's not overly dominant in this. This is more about the other notes, but it does play an important role. And I think this is an absolutely stunning perfume. It could easily be, on any given day, my number one in this list, and it could easily be, you know, the top three perfumes of all time that I own. I love More Than Words. It is divisive, and I know quite a few people don't like it, but for me, I don't know, it's borderline work of art. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. The bottle, everything about it, the presentation is fantastic. So highly recommended you sample that one. Okay, the number one, the numero uno, my favorite oud fragrance, and that is from the house of Nishane, and this is called Musica Oud, and this is biblical. It's another massive fragrance. Oh, there's something about this that is just magical. Unfortunately, it's another one that my wife's not that keen on, so I don't get to wear it very often. And obviously now we're in this sort of lockdown scenario, I won't be wearing it at all for quite some time until this is all over. But this is a huge perfume. This has got lots of saffron in it. It's got lots of oud in it. It's got oak moss in it. It's got sandalwood in it. It has got civet in it as well, which makes it a little animalic. It's a regal perfume. This is the head of the household's perfume. This is something that, you know, the boss of the factory wears, or, you know, something along those lines. I'm pretty sure I read that on Fragrantica, actually, the factory boss would wear this. But it's true. It really is that kind of fragrance. It's a dominating fragrance. It's very, very potent. I mentioned when I actually reviewed it on its own full review that I wore it to a cafe, and I absolutely fogged the cafe out, so I was a bit embarrassed by that. But I learned, you know, the presentation on this is lovely. I love the dark bottle with the gold on it, and then you've got the Chardonnay in the tip. It's an expensive one. I got it in a sale. I didn't get it through a Facebook group. I got it in a sale last year. I think, you know, one of the onliners, it might have been All Beauty or it might have been Latino, suddenly just did like a 20% off everything, and it was reduced anyway. So I got it for about the same sort of money you're paying for a designer fragrance. But full price, this is quite an expensive one, so be careful. Don't blind buy it. The only issue I have with Nishane is it's incredibly difficult to sample their perfumes. They're not really anywhere in the UK. You can't just go into a store and smell them. You have to kind of either get a sample from a friend or maybe from one of the sample companies and try them that way. But you will need to try them because they are quite divisive. I sent a little dribble of this to a friend of mine who's really into his oud, and he couldn't bear it because of the civet note. I sent a bit more to another friend who's really into his oud, and he absolutely adored it. So it could go either way. You need to love your oud, you need to love strong perfume, and you need to be aware of the civet, because the civet, I think, is what spoilt it for my friend, but my other friend absolutely loved it. It's a really, really strong perfume. It's a workhorse. It lasts and lasts and lasts. Another one, please don't get this on clothes. It's really, really thick. I would spray it now so you can see it on skin, but I'm at home with everyone and I will be shouted at, so I'm not going to do that. All right, so there you have it, my top 10 oud fragrances. I hope that's been of interest to you. You know, let us know if you've got any of these, or if you've sampled any of these, and you know, let me know what you think of them, and then me and Rich will obviously have a look at it and answer any questions you've got. As I say, tomorrow, thanks to the lovely Stuart, I'm going to be doing my first impressions of the Swedoft collection, so we can have a chat about them. Obviously, I'm not going to be wearing them very much, so it is going to be a total first impression. So you know, we'll get that done tomorrow, so you can see it and see what we think. Obviously, any requests, keep them coming, and we will endeavour to do exactly what we can to get this out to you guys. Listen, I hope Easter is a good time for you. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. For us, you know, I'm very, very blessed. I've got my family around me, and we're going to have a lovely day today. Probably have a couple of glasses of wine, and just try and make some, you know, make the most of it and have some fun. We've done an Easter egg hunt for the boy this morning in the garden, which was a good laugh. So I'm going to get back to my family now. You know, if you need to speak to us at all, or you want to speak to us at all, Instagram's probably the easiest one, or comment on there, because you know, I'm like everybody, I'm perpetually on my phone at the moment, and anything that comes up, we'll answer it straight away. Listen, thank you very much for your time. I know I keep saying it, but it is so appreciated that you choose to spend your time with us. We really, really love that. So listen, thank you very much. Take care, stay safe, and bye.